KC's Audio Vault.
Daron Miller from CKY.
June 3rd, 2009. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Fantastic.
Is CKY a pretty happy band these days? I guess you guys went through a bit of a rough patch.
Yes. We are ecstatic. We're really proud of the album, and we're excited to be on tour and all that.
What kind of stuff did you go through? I just sort of looked through a bit of your history. You kind of imploded. You took a year off, and now you're back stronger than ever. What did you guys go through?
I guess we continue to go through growing pains. This band takes on a lot of its own work, I guess you could say. We tend to be our own producers. Chad is our producer. We write all of our own songs, which is rare for a lot of bands these days. For a while we were having trouble with management, and then between Answer Can Be Found in Carver City, we had label changes. And being on tour, you try to play all these roles. Things don't work for you one day, and everything boils, and all of a sudden you don't have a band for a little while. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We just everything boiled to a head, and as things often tend to do within a working band relationship, alcohol, drugs, disappointments, stress, good, bad stress, it's just stress. And eventually, you take the wrong sip of something and swallow the wrong pill, and you're trying to fight somebody you're working with. So that's pretty much the explanation for that over the last 4 years.
Did you kind of stop in between, in the midst of working on Carver City?
Yeah. We were working on the record, and a tour came up, and we went on that tour, and that's when that all happened. And then taking the year off and then coming back to the record, we realized that the performances could be better. We rewrote some stuff and just kept moving on it. We just kept putting stuff down on tape, and the songs started to come together. We were building off of everything. We were building off of how satisfying everything was instantly. And we just kept creating without any problems, and we came up with our best record we've ever done.
Carver City is, I guess, a fictional town, so you would call the album Carver City a concept album, I guess?
You know what? I've been fighting people who say that Carver City is a concept record, but yeah, I'll say it is, in a way. But it doesn't really follow any kind of story. It's just a bunch of stories that take place in that town, but I wouldn't say it's much of a concept like Once Upon a Time and then They Lived Happily Ever After. It's not that kind of storytelling, sabotage kind of concept record or anything. It's not a rock opera. That's what I think of when I hear concept record. I think, oh no, rock opera.
It's not Tommy. It's not The Wall.
No, exactly. It's not Music from the Elder. It's not even what Green Day's calling a concept record.
Did you find it better to have an idea, a concept for the album like Carver City, and to be able to write this time around? Having
that idea really helped us, because if we had some place for all of this music to take place and all of these stories to take place, which we always write our songs about stories, we just needed a place to put them. And having a place helped us develop characters and locations and stuff like that. That really helped with the lyrical process, which I often get stuck on, So being able to have all these characters, we wrote outlines for these people that don't even exist, certain things that happen in their lives, certain characteristics that they attribute to themselves, and all this stuff. You have all of this outlined, and it's so easy to come up with these things that could have happened to them, and that way it was much easier to write lyrics.
Now, since there is a lot of that backstory to everything that you took all the time to do that, can Carver City be expanded to be a bigger thing, a Carver City book or a video game or something like that?
Absolutely. Video game is something that we wanted to do. And we actually put some development into it, but then we realized we weren't going to be able to do what we wanted with it. But a movie, certainly. A book off the movie, certainly. A movie from a book, who knows? Yeah, it's open for all that stuff. We want to collaborate with different people to see what kind of ideas they can come up with. It's all possible. We love to look into those ideas more than we like to look into other ideas about just being a band.
At Carver City, I'm imagining it as the like the town from The Lost Boys.
Yeah, we get that a lot. And you know how that movie makes you feel when you watch it? I don't know how old you are, but if you're anywhere around my age, like 30, 33 or something like that, that movie makes you feel a certain way when you watch it now because of how much you used to watch it when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole vibe that's no longer around these days, which is just, in a innocence and being young and not knowing what a lot of stuff means and being afraid, having fear of fiction. Most people now are afraid of reality, whereas I used to be afraid of stuff that wasn't possible. Vampires, obviously. Stuff that wasn't possible is more interesting to me than having a bomb drop. That's a boring fear to have. But those kinds of fears you just don't have anymore. People aren't afraid of stuff that doesn't really happen. So it's kind of trying to grasp at people's sense of that feeling and just having a good time in the summer. And Carver City is basically just a place that's designed for fun, yet no one's having any.
Is it somewhat like where you grew up?
It's somewhat a lot like the time when I grew up. A little bit like where we grew up, but it's more like the time. And that's where the vibe comes from. It's supposed to bring out a feeling in people that they haven't had in a long time. Some people get it, The record's definitely not a first listen record. You're not going to listen to the album and be like, oh, okay, I know what's going on. We've never designed any of our music to be like that. Because those records don't last, We wanted this one to be something you have to listen to over and over, and then when you finally do get it, it's more satisfying than any record you've ever gotten the first time you listen to it. So
I appreciate, Daron, you coming on the Rock Report. We're looking forward to CKY tonight at the Pyramid. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All the interviews you want on iTunes and at Power97.com. Casey's Audio Vault.
Casey Norman is Power 97's music director and can be heard every weekday from 2 till 6 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Power 97 is Winnipeg's best rock.